Morning, it's Tuesday. Just heading over to the Walmart, big city shopping. No, I've got to go over there and get some medicine at the pharmacy that compounds for my little person with autism. And then I need to go get some snacky food. I live in a town called Edenton, North Carolina. Been here 20 years in August. And it's an awesome town. It's on the Albemarle Sound. It's the first capital of the colonies. My husband's dad's family was from here for a long, long time. And I always knew he wanted to live here. So here we are. We have 4 children, had them here. We've moved 3 times. Used to live in a historic house out of town. Then we lived in called Mulberry Hill. Then we lived in a historic house in town called the Joseph Hughes House, owned by one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And now we live in a non-historic house. And I was thinking about that this morning as I'm thinking about what goes on in my town. So there's always give and take in life, right? So in our town, we have a high school. It's called John A. Holmes High School. And it's right in the middle, the center of town. It's a historic place, but it's in terrible shape. So over the last few years, we've been having meetings, planning meetings, vision meetings, Zooms, public input sessions, so that everybody in the community can kind of join in and say, what are we going to do with our high school? Are we going to fix it up? Are we going to tear it down? Are we going to move a high school to the county? These are all big discussions that are being had. And the decision was made after lots of public input over the last couple years that the high school is going to be torn down. So right behind me is where the track is, where my kids run track. And from the middle school, they do their track meets here. And that we were going to build a new high school here in town. And so the historic building is being torn down. But it was decided give and take, right? Like, we need a new building, we need new. And I was thinking about myself, like, I lived in 2 old homes that I loved and were charming. But we really got to a point in our family where we needed something new was going to be better for us, right? And we don't have the amazingness of the old, but we have new. And maybe for us, we have closets or a yard that can be easily fenced in or whatever. Good morning from Alabama, small town in Alabama. So tonight is a school board meeting, and I hate controversy. I know people think, oh, well, she's a blogger, she loves a bunch of fussing. It's not true. So this is where our baseball field is here. And then this is the back of the high school here. And this is where, so you see a gate where teachers can go in. And then over here on this side, this is called Oakham Street. In Oakham Street, I'm just going to give you a little tour. And what I should be doing is doing on the golf cart, but it's kind of cold. So we have central office for our school systems. There's the baseball field. We have central office for our school system is right here. I'm just going to show you how close everything is, which I really like. And I would like to argue that the research says when you have a school downtown, you have more family and community involvement. We have had numerous shootings here over the last few weeks, and we really need our community's involvement. So there's the bus garage right there. There's a cat. And then here is Edenton Chowan Public Schools. So this is central office. And a few years ago, we rented a building, and then our superintendent was smart and said, you know what? We're not going to rent a building anymore. We're going to use this building we have. And so if you need a meeting with Mrs. Rawls, the assistant superintendent, Dr. Sasser, the superintendent, the EC person, that's where you go. Okay. So we're back on Oakham Street. What kind of shootings? Just random shootings. But we live in a poor area, and we struggle with some things. So here we go. We have the school here, and then we're going to make a turn on this street right here. We have about 5,000 in town. So if you turn here, there's my friend Dawson's house. That's at the corner of 1st and Oakham Street. Dawson has Down East Preservation. which he's done a really nice job of kind of fixing things up in town. So here you have the kind of side street of the school, and you've got some houses in here. You've got a water tower. So the new school is going to be really where it is now, but they're going to do two things. One, right here, you're going to see tennis courts. So they're going to be tennis courts along this side of the road. This is the neighborhood. At the end of the street, you have the fire station and you have Dairy Queen. Right here, between the tennis courts and the fire station, you are going to see a scout hut. Now, currently, the scout hut is diagonally that way. So they want to move the scout hut right here. This was on the plans totally, and then we have a house full of fun things. So the scout hut is going to be moved here. This has been planned for years. Well, there's a group that has decided, and it's nothing against anybody because we're all welcome to have an opinion. They do not want the scout hut moved because they say that it's not safe right there. So I just showed you, here's the Dairy Queen, here's the fire station. If that's not safe, then that means our high school is not safe. That means our tennis courts are not safe. And that's the only way the scout hut can be safe. I struggle with that as being given as a reason. So here is where the scout hut is now. We have this building there, which is unsightly. We have the tennis courts that are going to be moved. And then we have the Boy Scout hut. Now, the Boy Scout hut is on the National Historic Register. This is the Boy Scout hut right here, front and center on Broad Street. This is a one-way street. We're not going to pay attention to that. I have spent many an hour in this Boy Scout hut because my kids were in Cub Scouts. And it didn't last long. We didn't have a great leadership back then. And clearly my husband wasn't going to be the leader, but I'm just going to walk you around this building because I think this is important. The Scout Hut, Boy Scouts. Thank you, Nicole. Get my chai tea. They want to add pickleball courts. I know. And who doesn't love pickleball courts? So the new school that's going to be built is going to be right here. So exactly like it is now, but it's going to come forward. And again, all these drawings and renderings were offered to the community multiple times over a long period. Now people don't want to move this building. Not my argument, but I think what I would point out is that you had a chance to say you didn't want it moved. Why does it have to be moved? Well, the geothermal wells for the school are going to be underneath this area. A lot of people use it now for fundraisers. Yes, and that's the beauty of it, Amy, is that they're not getting rid of it. It's going to be moved 300 yards so it can still be used for fundraisers and it can still be used for the Cub Scouts. It's a neat building. Where will the students be housed during construction? They're going to be kind of across the street. So Edenton is really amazing. We have moved many a building. When we built a new courthouse in 1980, we moved a couple houses. The Barker House, which is sort of a premier house, was moved down to the water. So I'm going to show it to you because it is really a cool building. I mean, it is neat. It's an old-timey scout hut. Right beside some tennis courts. Enrollment numbers in John A. Holmes. I don't know. Geothermal will save a lot of money and pay for it moving. So it's nothing against the scout hut. If they were going to tear down the scout hut, I would be like, this is the lighthouse. Thank you, Amy. The lighthouse was moved. This is terrible. We shouldn't tear it down. But they're not going to tear it down. They're going to just move it a hop, skip, and a jump right back here. And to me, it's a safe location. It's where our tennis courts are. It's where our kids go to school. When was this built? I think it was built in like 1929. So the new high school is going to be here. And it was a big deal. It was really a big deal when they were talking about this high school. And I'll tell you what the biggest deal was. The biggest deal was, okay, can the geothermal be put where they want the hut? That is where it's supposed to be. So now, if somebody says, we're going to sue you and we don't want the hut to move, we want you to move the geothermal, you're going to have this amazing site plan with a hut in front of it, which to me is just, it's not great looking. And it can stay on the National Historic Register over there. So I guess it just doesn't seem like a bad trade-off. The other thing is, our county commissioners are foul. They are sick of people fighting. They are tired of negativity. They didn't like when people were fighting about putting the high school in the county, and then we decided to put it in town, and we all had to do give and take. A lot of people wanted it in town, and so the decision was made, okay, it'll be in town, and we have to move the scout hut. What people don't know, and I think this is really important that people think about, if tonight at the school board meeting, the school board said, you know what, we don't want people mad at us, fine, we're going to table the project. Tabling the project can cost well over $100,000 a month, which is a lot of money where we live. And the other thing is, the county commissioners can say, screw all of you, we're going to go find 50 acres in the county, and we're just going to move the high school out there. And you might say, well, what's the big deal of that? Well, one, we know research says having a beautiful high school in town encourages families to come. We have a lot of families that walk to basketball games and do everything. So then, do you know what will happen to this high school if we move one to the county? A charter school will come in here. Last year, we wrote checks for $180,000 to 3 charter schools. We don't even have one in our town. We have one in Williamston, we have one in Elizabeth City, and we have one in Columbia. Oh my God, I hate spammers. I'm going to kick your tail. Emma Jong, dum dum, doo doo doo. Ban. You've been banned, whatever your name is. So we have a charter. Charters are like my children on cinnamon rolls on Saturday mornings. A charter school would see this building and say, that looks like a wonderful place to go. 589. Thank you, Tracy. So if you had a charter school come in and you think about the number of students you would lose, and then what happens then is that the county commissioners have to make up for the shortfall in the money that we get. Can you speak at the meeting tonight? I'm pondering it. I just hate fusses. And I realize people are passionate about the scout hut, but like sometimes we have to give and take. Is it worthwhile of not having the high school in town? No, it's not. It's not worthwhile. I loved living in an historic building, and I moved to a new house because sometimes you have to do the right thing. Anybody will tell you when charter schools move into your community, you are in trouble. You want to see segregation. You want to see loss of income. You want to see, like, we already don't have any teachers. I mean, at our middle school, like, there is no, my son was in 8th grade last year and had like 4 advanced classes. This year there's 1 because of no teachers. And that's not our school system's fault. That's the General Assembly's fault. So just call a spade a spade. So we're going to do one more circle because I just think this is really important for you to see where the scout hut is and where it's going to be moved. And is this worth not having a high school downtown? Okay, because that's as simple as it gets. Let me hit someone. That's all I need to do. My husband will hurt me. So here's the high school. Oh, I love that tree. I hope they're able to keep that tree. Teachers are steady leaving. Yes, they are. Here's the high school, John A. Holmes High School, right here. Okay, and then we have the scout huts right here. Okay, on Broad Street. You lose a sense of community when schools are moved. Absolutely, you sure do. And then you have, so you have scout hut, you have tennis courts, you have the armory, which it looks like a prison to me, but anyway. You have the fire department, and you have the Dairy Queen. Okay, now we're going to get up here, and I'm going to show you where it's going. You have Johnson Street and Park Avenue, and then the Scout Hut will be right here. Right here. Right here. It doesn't appear unsafe to me. I can tell you, I'll feel a lot better about having Amos here on campus versus in the county and paying for fuel every 5 minutes to go out to school. That's right. If you leave your district for the charter and return, the money does not return to you. Right here will be the tennis courts. You've got the fun house. So you'll have tennis courts here. You have a pretty nice street. That's the current parking lot. You have baseball here. You have a church here. And you have my friend Dawson's house right here. So the argument is being made, it is not safe to move it there. I just don't get it. I absolutely do not get it. And then you have central office right there. And then this is the old elementary school, D.F. Walker. And this is where the students will do their classes then. I tell you, the research on softball, did I say baseball? You need to keep the high school by the Dairy Queen, right? I mean, the high school keeps the Dairy Queen in business. Edenton is perking up. I think Down East Preservation has done a really good job. Little spoiler alert, they're going to be my business today. What is unsafe? I don't know, Bonnie. I really don't know. I guess because maybe there's like black people that live across the street. I have no idea what makes it unsafe. I'm being totally serious. And I hope that's not true, but that's what it feels like to me. You know, it's just, we can't have this fussing all the time. And maybe belonging to a little person with autism, but holy cow, like there are bigger fish to fry. Let's get our teachers. Let's do all these things that make our community better. And when people come to town and we're trying to recruit doctors and people in our boat industries or new businesses, and we want to say, and the first thing people want to know is, where are my kids going to go to school? And you say, right there. And they're going to go, wow, that's a great looking high school. And when you have a good looking building, there's going to be good things happening in it. Fighting just to fight. Maybe. But anyway, thank y'all for listening. I think it's just important to put the facts out, and those are the facts.